Hey guys, it's Rush. Today we're going to be making a video about something that I don't think is talked about nearly enough in this game, and that's going to be your ability to play a side and then decide that your decision was trash and to do something else. So, what you can see in this game, we're on Ensk. It's a standard game. They've got 3 tier 10s, we've got 3 tier 10s, etc., etc. I'm deciding to go to the city. Now, the reason I'm going to the city is because I see they have Wn8, and that's pretty much their only heavy. I mean, they've got a T2065 pilot, like they've got the pilot, sorry, T25 pilot, and that's pretty much their only 2 heavies, and typically heavies go to the city. So I look at their lineup and say, huh, I can probably win the city. And they've got 2 tier 9 Arty, and I can also say that I'm not forced to engage those Arty. So what I'm going to do from, this perspective is to go to the city. And that's going to turn out to be the absolutely wrong play to make. You're going to notice our whole team goes to the 9 line, which is something you could predict, but a large amount of their team is going to come to this city. So what I'm doing is I'm popping up to this corner. That lets me shoot their E5 early. You can shoot heavies early. And you can see I was right. Their E5 did come to the city. I mean, that's typically what happens on this map, but I was also mistaken in the fact that the M48 Patton decided it was worth his time to go city as well. So immediately, I look at who's around me. I say, okay, it's me and a defender. Can we beat these 2 guys? And the answer is no. The defender and I are not going to come out on top against an E5, which is extremely strong, as well as a Patton, which has extremely high DPM. And really, they just have the edge over us. So I'm just going to leave. The reason I'm going to do this, and I know, I'm basically killing the defender here, but the reason I'm going to do this is because it's not worth my time for my win rate or for the team's win. We're not going to win if I dedicate my time to fighting a losing battle. That's just the reality. So you can see immediately as I leave, it turns out to be the right play. They have a Scorpion who I would never have expected to play D2. They also have the pilot who shows up. The reality is it was just a good play to leave, and it's something you can expect. Just like we had a Leopard 1 play city, they're going to have some guy that I don't expect to play the city. So, leaving I think was the right play. So what I'm going to do from here is I know we've got a single defender. We also have a Leopard 1. We're not going to win in the city, and I want to push the 9-0 because otherwise they're going to get into our base. So you're going to see that's going to be my focus for now. And if you watch the map as this happens, it's pretty inevitable. You'll see exactly what happens to the city and why it's such a bad play. It would have been such a bad play for me to stay. So they also send a mod 1 to the city. They've currently got 5 tanks and we have 2 there. If I had been there, it would not work. So they're just going to rush down the 1-2 line. I see that, and as a result, I want us to push down the 9-0 as quickly as we can, because if we can get on cap first, that would be perfect. Now, currently, they have 6 tanks in the city, and AMX30B has joined them, and it's just our defender and Leopard 1 who are there. Now, the defender calls us idiots. I don't blame him. I basically just left him to die. Totally my responsibility. But you're going to see this is the right play. It's so amazing that this is such, it's insane. This was the perfect play you could have made. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push up. I know they're about to get into our base. Now, I make some mistakes, but the positioning is what I'm trying to teach. There's an RU who obviously puts a shot into me. I wanted to kill that T30, before they get into our base, and you can see at this point in time, they've got 6 people driving towards maybe even more, driving towards our cap circle. So we finish off the T30. From here, we're pushing into our base. Now, they've obviously got the RU-251 in front of us. They've got 7 people pushing into our base currently. That's like half their team. They're all full HP, and we're in this situation where at least we've won a side. We don't have to worry about them pushing in from the city just yet. We know where they are. We can shoot back at them, and that's amazing. This is why it's important. If we had just stayed in the city and tried to defend from our base, and they had also been pressuring us from up north, we would have been surrounded. It would not have been good. Instead, we took advantage of the fact that their 9-0 was weak, and now we have at least some map to fight from. So what you can see me doing is I'm reacting to how they're playing. I see that this E5's here. Obviously, I want to take that E5 out of the fight, and I can relatively easily do that from this location. The Yag Panther 2 just drives around a corner. It was pretty funny how he did that. I put a shot into him. The Scorpion G pens my turret, I believe. You can see where he penned me. He penned me right there. And from here, we're just going to sort of brawl people. Now, I noticed how the Yag Panther was driving. And I don't need XVM to tell the skill of most players. I mean, the way he was driving, it's not akin to how really respectable players can drive. So you can see I didn't expect him to have great reaction times So I shot him, even though he was looking at me. I just shot him, and I backed up, and he missed his shot. So you can see I took advantage of that. Obviously, now I killed the Scorpion. Now I'm attacking this E5, and I'm just going to sort of rely on my turret armor, stay held down here as I fight this guy. Now, one thing I want to talk about is I know the Scorpions here. I see where they're playing, and I noticed that they have 3 tanks who are going to push into our Leopard 1, who's a one-shot. We also have a KR. I don't want to be in this location anymore. I'm going to do the exact same thing that I just did with the city, because you don't have to be Erwin Rommel to figure out that this one-shot Leopard 1 is going to die. So what I'm going to do is I want to leave this location. I'm going to take a couple hits to do it, but it's ultimately going to give me a better position, because you can see we've got 3 TDs who, you know, in my opinion, are being useless. They're just sitting in their base. And this is going to be an extremely important play, because I don't stick around to deal with their 600 HP Patton, their Pershing, and whatever other tank they have up in the north. So you can see they cross in front of me. I'm shooting at them. I'm moving away because I predicted that this would happen. I turn the Patton into a one-shot. He misses his shot. I finish him off. And now again, I have some space to work with. I'm moving towards my teammates, and that's going to be really important for me. So from here, I expect the E5 and the Pershing to, give me some sort of shots. I have shots in the E5. I somehow missed or whatever that shot. RNG said no. The Scorpion sort of caught me off guard. He puts a shot into me, hour-racks me, and I'm not going to poke on them again because I've got 290 HP. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to play these train tracks. I'm not worried. Like, I know where their Pershing is. The Pershing cannot reliably one-shot me. It turns out that the Pershing puts himself in a worse position, which is better for me, and I'm just going to stay right here, and I'm going to wait for something to happen. Because of my HP situation, I'm just going to wait for someone to drive in front of me. The Pershing obliges, and now we've won this game. So, really, from here, the game's over. What's going to happen is we're just going to push into them. I mean, you can see I've got 4 kills. The E5's basically dead. Same with the Mod 1. And that's the replay. But the only reason I was able to possibly get this result is simply because of the way I pushed into them. And I think that's really, sorry, not the way I pushed, well, partly because of the way I pushed into them, but the way I ran away, when I needed to. So there's 2 aspects. If I hadn't run away from the city, obviously we would have died, but if I hadn't pushed the 9-0 either, definitely wouldn't have worked. So let's go take a look at the end plates and the map tactic, and then we'll, that'll be the end of the video. Alrighty, so the key takeaways from this game are, like I said, the running away aspect. I mean, obviously, I was lucky in a sense, right? Obviously, I could never have expected that an AMX-30B, M48 Patton, T54 Mod 1, Scorpion G, etc., all came to the city. And I was very fortunate that they didn't play the field. But at the same time, the second you see something that you can't win, there's no sense in fighting it. You have to try to find something else. So here, when I saw the Patton and the E5, and I was just like with the defender, if they pushed us and they, if they did anything for an E5, it's super easy to beat the both of us. And with the Patton there, with as much HP as they had and the amount of DPM they had, it's just unreasonable to expect us to win. So I left, right? And then I went over to here, and when I saw that they had 7 or 6 or even 5 tanks pushing this side, I was like, okay, we have to go, right? We have to push down the 0 line because we want to get into their base before they get into ours. Now, obviously, there's it takes 30 seconds to cap if 3 people on cap, so you have a 30-second window of, plus or minus, I guess, but we wanted to get here as quickly as possible so we could start resetting and capping if we needed to, and you can see that's really what we did. We just shot down the train tracks, and we were able to reset the cap, just shoot the people as they drove into our cap. So I think that's extremely relevant. That's how every single map in the game is played. If they're going to push into your base, you want to push into theirs unless they can do it significantly faster than you can push into their base, if that makes sense. So you want to get to their base, 30 seconds before they can get into yours. But that's just my experience, and ultimately this decision to leave this side and push this one is what allowed me to get 4,500 damage or whatever the end result was. So we can talk about the end result. You can see Mastery Badge First Class, High Caliber, 1662 XP, 4745 damage, 5 kills. I mean, pretty good result considering that I ran away from one side of the map and ended up fighting on the other. So, this is my experience with this game. I hope this video was helpful. If you want to see more, be sure to hit the like and the subscribe button, and I hope to see you around. Again, just to reiterate, if you see a fight that you cannot win, don't stay. It just makes 0 sense. Go find something else to do. It will almost always be better than guaranteeing yourself a losing battle. That's the skill in this game. no, you know, there's going to be some players who have figured out how to beat e5s in an STB1, but the bottom line is that if the e5 just drives into you, he's going to beat you. In 99%, like a huge percentage of the WoD player base will never be able to solo an e5 in a city where the e5 has the advantage. The skill is where you put your tank, who you choose to engage, and how you manipulate that engagement. So this fight here, where all the e5 had to do was drive into me, there's no way I would have won it. Instead, I ended up fighting him over here, and that's a fight that I could perceivably win because I was held down, and I also had teammates with me. So that's what I mean by manipulating the circumstances around that engagement. So like I said, you have to be able to run away, and then you have to be able to find something else to do, and those are ultimately what's going to make you a better player in this game. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful. If you want to see more, be sure to hit the like and the subscribe button, and I hope to see you around. Later, guys. Bye-bye.